If you could experience the world of a nightmare, how would you go about it? Would you face the fears? Maybe you would try to find different paths in hopes the outcome may be different. Perhaps you could try to have something close to your heart that you knew could help you through whatever the tale may be. All I know is that nightmares can be a scary situation if we let them take over. But does developer Supermassive Games give us the ride as we try not to blink in the face of horror? Let's discover with Dark Pictures Switchback VR for PlayStation VR 2. The Dark Picture Switchback VR is a rail shooter that plunges players into a fast-paced roller coaster horror action shooter. This original standalone game is where you will come face to face with the most terrifying antagonist from Season 1 of the Dark Pictures anthology. Experience horror like never before in this multi-sensory VR experience with the PlayStation VR 2's innovative capabilities. So before going on that ride of the coaster of death, there are a few things that you should be aware of. First, this is a horror game, and things will make you jump, so you may want to pray before playing. Second, make sure those Sense controllers are charged, as you don't want to come face to face with evil only to have your controllers die because you forgot to charge them. Third, find your favorite place to sit. This is a coaster ride after all, and there will be some ducking and moving that you will have to do. And finally, just have some fun. With all that said, let's continue. When you first start, you are one of the passengers on a train ride, and I will say that at this point, everything looks good thus far. It's when the train ride continues that things start to take a turn for the worse. A sudden call from your sister Charlotte that you're not really talking with, but the conversation does start to help move part of the story along. That's when the train wreck happens and you start to realize you're being haunted by a malevolent spirit throughout your ride. But it wasn't until the first glimpse of being on the track with the spooky atmosphere, along with other parts of the game, that I started to realize there was more here than what was being led on. Starting out, it serves as the tutorial so you can get used to using the Sense controls. I have to say, compared to Rush of Blood for PlayStation VR, the Dark Picture Switchback VR tracking is so much better. Everything I shot was dead on, even if part of what I was shooting was just the open air. To reload your weapons, you simply shake the controllers or press X. It's that simple and it works beautifully. Also, having lights from the guns help, especially when you're in those darker parts of the games. Just keep in mind that marked targets get you a higher score. The higher the score, the better you'll be on those leaderboards, as each level has its own unique leaderboard to try and challenge. And the ride that you're on is not just taking you on one single path. You will be going through various locations that include a ghost ship, houses, and well, I would not spoil that for you. There will be parts of the track that will allow you to make choices if you're going to go to the left or right. Keep in mind that each level, you do get to see the path you selected, which means that you will just need to go back and select the opposite sides to see what may be waiting for you. There will be some rooms with puzzles, which are not difficult, that you will need to solve before progressing. Other rooms can very well be more disturbing for others, such as dolls climbing on the ceilings, dogs that may not be fully fleshed out, and even rats that can be in packs coming for you. Remember, this is horror, so try to embrace it all. Now, being that this is PlayStation VR 2, and the PlayStation VR 2 has features. The developer decided to make use of these features, such as feeling the haptic feedback in the headset when you're going down the track to give you that sense of speed, to even a few places where when you blink, objects will start to move until you have no choice but to start shooting like there is no tomorrow. Speaking of shooting, there are boxes along the way that when you shoot them, you can gain a new weapon, like a shotgun, for example, and that is for a limited amount of time. So make sure you keep an eye out for those, that is, if you're not caught off by the jump scares first. I love it when I was riding along and you can see things just move and I could try and shoot whatever was out there, and I got the feeling it was being watched. But there was one level in particular in the 4-second doors that didn't have a lot of action going on, and it seemed like it was more an anticipation level, as I was just waiting for something to happen, only to every now and then shoot at some things until things started to pick up. But it's when you are in the areas or levels that you know something is about to move, and you're just waiting for something to move and jump, that either really adds to the fun of the game. Let's talk about the graphics and sound. There are times when playing and the moonlight is hitting just right, and when you add the fog of the night, just really adds to the atmosphere. There are some parts that some may think that are not up to PlayStation VR 2 specs, or may think that the graphics at some parts are below par. I can see where they may think that, but earlier I mentioned there was something more here than what was being let on. And I think, at least for me, for the most part, the developers had captured that horror genre. The game seems to have borrowed certain specialities from horror movies and added them in its own special way. While I was playing, I got not only the Dark Pictures vibes, but Saw, Children of the Corn, The Fog, The Conjuring, and so much more. Yes, could some parts be improved on? Yes. Were there some parts that were awesome just the way that they are? Yes. As far as the sound, if you pair a game with a good headset such as a Pulse 3D audio headset, you are going to be in for a treat. The music fits. Hearing the screams as when you are outside and hearing everything get quiet, just as the wheels are coming to a stop as something is about to jump out at you, provides a very chilling, immersive experience. There are a few things that I would love to see. For one, choices in paths. I do appreciate the path selections that are here, but having more would just add more to that replayability. Second, more use of eye tracking. There are a few parts that use eye tracking, so every time you blink, something moves. This is a great use of the technology, and I would love us to see more parts of the game take advantage of this. Third, more special weapons. Even with the parts where you get to upgrade your weapon for a certain amount of time, it would be nice if there was more variety, or at least you can keep the weapon until the next weapon box. And finally, just more of the coaster to ride. The Dark Picture Switchback VR takes us on a ride on a nightmare roller coaster and doesn't even try hiding the fears you will experience. It takes a ride with new features and uses them to the best of its ability while trying to make the best experience for those who wish to buckle in for its ride. Sometimes in life, we have our own demons and nightmares of a reality that we live with. Sometimes we try to run, and others, we ride it through. But no matter how bad things may seem, isn't it better to get a glimpse of how things can become if we don't stop and listen to what is being told so we can make better decisions on the roller coaster ride of life?